Did it work, Sarah?
Either Dunkin' or.
I don't know yet.
Espresso.
I don't know why it's doing this.
That
Like,
from there.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry, we're figuring out our audio.
Okay.
We're all just sitting in a living room.
Okay, yeah, now the audio's on, so they can now hear us. System. Okay, good. So thank you guys online for being so patient.
Yeah, maybe I'll make this.
Okay.
What happens if I move over here? Follow me?
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh my gosh. Maybe if you didn't talk while doing that, you would have did first. Rachel, who's going first? And maybe what, do you need your personal or the?
Rachel needs to sit front. We're missing.
Right, hey, that's something that I've learned.
Amazon. Cheap like faux leather ones. I mean, they're probably $20.
I mean that just in general for like,
I'm so
I can't remember anything again.
I got you. Okay, there.
You do not want to be.
Well, I don't mind having some attention, but I don't wanna be like the whole time. It's funny. Every time I.
Yeah.
All right, well, Sarah's getting this set up. Let's just do introductions real quick. I'm also going to be passing around this sign-in and it's gonna be difficult, just so you are all prepared, because it's
Oh, it's so awkward.
I know, I'm sorry.
We just
Susan.
write our names.
Okay.
I don't care.
You know, let's do it. Let's write our names.
It's on there, it's fine.
Is it collapsed?
It is awkward.
It was there.
Yeah, they're loud.
So useful just in general.
So you can stow it away. It's different colors there.
That and then we need step ladder.
Okay, so you get step ladder.
Well, nice to let's see.
Yeah. I think I've heard of that.
Honestly, this is the right move.
Go back.
Go back.
Yeah.
Me too.
I might have somebody.
Okay. All right, so let's do introductions real quick. Introductions. So we're gonna do name, kind of why you're here, how you are connected to prevention, and if there's anything that you want to promote that you have done for prevention. So most of us know each other. It's kind of a small crowd, spring break, woo-hoo. So thank you guys for turning up on spring break week, grateful. So if you don't know me, Rachel Cadens, the director of the Forsyth County Drug Awareness Council. We have a couple things that we need to promote right now. So the Walk for Recovery, guys, everybody on Zoom, I don't know if you can, the owl's looking at me, owl. Ooh, ooh. Probably gonna go crazy.
Sit right here. and I'll get you,
Okay.
like, right.
All right.
Yeah, I wonder if someone, Terry, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, great. So the Walk for Recovery, April 27th. We really need help promoting this. Every year we've gotten what we think is about 300 people to attend, but it's usually people in the recovery community, which is great. This year, we're really trying to do a push for just general community members. And the point of this event is to be able to kind of go, hey, if it doesn't affect you directly, it will, drugs and alcohol and substance abuse will affect you indirectly, whether it's a friend or a family member. And it's good to be aware. It's good to be aware of how to respond when the need comes. And so the walk is to kind of just help eliminate that stigma and show that we're all here working together. So I'm gonna put the flyers on the table right there. Please pick this up. I think the best way to promote this is gonna be word of mouth, honestly, because, and yeah, I just think word of mouth. So there is this flyer. Please pick this up. I'm also going to share it in the email. So if on social media, you could spread the word, send out emails to whoever you can. Let's really do a big push to try and get people to come to this event. That also being said, we are using it as a fundraiser now. So obviously you guys know we're a nonprofit. We run off of donations. So there is a sponsorship opportunity. They'll be able to get their logo promoted on t-shirts, you know, billboard, or not billboard, I'm sorry, the banners, flyers. So this is a sponsorship packet. If you know anybody that could do this, please grab a flyer and spread the word on sponsorship as well. Because again, we run off the donations. That's the only way we can continue to do things like this with the owl. So that's all I've got to say for, oh, one more thing. Next month, May. the mental health meeting is having a like kind of really cool speaker. I could tell you who he is. But Cindy wanted me to ask if we wanted to combine the mental health meeting with this meeting next month, which we've never done that. And I feel like it would be pretty cool because we're very similar in our goals. And
Are they the
they're
14th?
the second Wednesday of the month. So is that the 14th?
Do we
Yeah.
fight them or what?
I mean, we show up looking cool for sure. Yeah, we need to come in like,
On your motorcycle, cool.
yeah, definitely ride your motorcycle. So John Constantino, medical doctor and chief of behavioral health of mental at Showa. So he is from Showa, and I think he's highly educated, and we'll just have really good information on, for all of us to kind of take and have moving forward. So I'm going to take a vote right now with the people in this room, even if this is your first council meeting. Do you guys think we should combine, or I'm gonna do this. Is there anybody that's against combining with the mental health meeting?
As a member of both, I say we should definitely do it.
We should definitely do it.
Yeah.
Okay, now, by a show of hands, how many of you could attend if we do it the second Wednesday of the month?
The United Way.
It would still be at United Way.
Or Adam.
Okay, that's,
Is that United Way?
okay, then we're gonna go ahead and do that. Everybody on Zoom, I don't know if you've heard that, but, okay, I see a thumbs up from Carol, awesome. So let's go ahead and say next Wednesday, or next month will be the second Wednesday of the month. I'll send that out in an email as well. That's all I've got to say. I'm gonna pass it to my right.
Okay, I'm Susan Tanner. I have two grown stepkids with drug addiction problems. And, I attend a Monday night moms group, and I mentor about 4 schools. I'm Nancy Smallwood. I'm the grants manager for Forsyth County, and we manage, a new grant, which is helping to, finance Rachel's group and new counselors for the UNG, and we're going to, restructure the CHAMPS program for the sheriff's office to include more drug, opioid addiction, information. And we also do the COSAP program, which is medically assisted, treatment for opioid addiction through Georgia Highlands. Yeah.
I'm Adam Miller, so I work in drug and alcohol treatment as well as mental health treatment in North Georgia. Counseling on the side, I'm on the board here. Yeah, that's it.
Well, hi, I'm Chris Savanka, not as cool as these humans, but I've worked in mental health for the past 1.5 years. In all honesty, I'm looking for a job. So I thought I'd come in and just ask around, and also I've been a part of a few walks for recoveries and different events and emails, and I've loved it. And I love the new service and to figure out where the need is, so that's really all I'm here for. Thank you.
I'm Marty Roveda. I'm the co-chair of the parent, what do we call ourselves? Parent partners. And a parent coach.
Danielle Rieta, counselor at Avita. We serve mainly people with no insurance and low income, or no income, or the Medicaids. We do currently take a few of the private insurances, nothing from the marketplace. We take Medicare. We see some veterans from the VA. We have a couple groups, including a relapse prevention group on Thursdays for adults.
I'm Abigail Boobin. I'm the case manager here at the Drop. We serve unaccompanied homeless youth 18 to 24.
Hi, I'm Sahasha. I'm a junior at Lambert High School, and me and Sean work together to boost fentanyl awareness education and other drug awareness in our community.
I'm gonna kind of repeat what she just said, but yeah, hi, my name is Ashandi. You guys can call me Sean though. I'm also in 11th grade, and I'm also assisting with raising more fentanyl awareness in our community. We're targeted to youth.
My name's Nick Ravar. I'm the senior counselor for the Insight program. I work alongside Matt, and we're a treatment center down in Roswell that cater to young adults and adolescents ages 13 to 25.
Okay, Sarah Pedre, the director of Forsyth County Community Connection, which is the Georgia Family Connection Partnership for Forsyth County. I'm also overseeing the grant that is our drop-in center. One of the support services that we can provide is some outpatient paying for cost of outpatient
services. So my predecessor, worked with Cindy Mills and Lindsay Simpson on writing the grant for the Drug Awareness Council. So ever since I've been with Young Connection, I've been, part of the council and I'm on the advisory board. We have a Child and Family Welfare Collaborative, and on the 21st, we have a very cool meeting. It's kind of a data dive going into a bunch of different things. We have someone from the state who comes in and shows us all these really cool data tools. And if you guys like to nerd out on data and numbers and why and maps and all that kind of stuff, please come and attend that.
I'm Meyer, Program Director, Insight Program. Hi, y'all.
Legend.
So due to time, Zoom members, I'm not gonna have you guys introduce yourself because we started a little bit late, but if there is anything that somebody on Zoom wants to promote, that you're doing that you think this group of ladies and some gentlemen need to know.
Some gentlemen.
I'm opening the floor to Zoom to do that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paulina. I'm the Behavioral Health Director at Georgia Highlands Medical Services. We have our MAP program. I know Todd had came to you and talked to you during the last council meeting. So I wanted to kind of just reiterate that we do have our COSUP grant. So we are accepting, patients who need medication-assisted treatment. We are also offering behavioral health services with that. So please send any patients our way for any of those services. Happy to help them here.
Thanks, Paulina. Anybody else? All right, lovely. Then I would like to introduce. So as you guys know, I'm kind of trying to bring our youth committee front and center to be able to present what it is that they're doing in our community, because we talk about them, they're great. We don't always get to see what they're doing. So Saharsha and Sean are here to show us the projects that they've been working on. So let's give them a big round of applause and a warm welcome.
Okay, so thank you so much for letting us come here and present to you guys. But yeah, just once again, my name is Sean.
I'm Sahasra.
And in this presentation, we're basically just going to kind of detail why fentanyl awareness in our community is so important. It's increasing threats and also some initiatives that we've been starting in our community to raise awareness around it. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so why do we need to talk about fentanyl? Fentanyl is a powerful opiate, as I'm sure you all know, and it's very potent in small doses. So even if there's less than 2 milligrams, which is about like 6 grains of salt, it's very deadly and lethal to humans at that moment. And we want to especially push for advocacy and awareness for teens, because a lot of teens these days are using vapes, like nicotine and like weed. And what they don't know is, since we're all the way in Georgia, fentanyl has become a like staple in manufacturing drugs like this.
And just kind of some reasons why there's like just a little bit of like a stat dump on like certain related deaths that happen because of fentanyl. We see that in the United States, we have like almost over 100 different people dying every day because of this issue. And in addition, many of the victims, because of this issue of fake pills and kind of lacing that happens with fentanyl, a lot of these victims don't even know they're consuming fentanyl, which is honestly even like a bigger issue, because obviously many people will know that fentanyl is bad, but in some instances they might be told they're taking a pill that contains one thing, but then they're actually taking something laced with fentanyl. So that's why it's an even more prevalent issue and something that's a bit harder to combat. And this is just kind of like a little bit of a continuation, but this is just kind of re-emphasizing what Sahasra was saying about just like the potency of the drug itself, because even just like a little bit of like, I think there's like a picture of like a pencil lead and then just like how much fentanyl needed to like cause an overdose, and it's like very, very small amount. So that's another reason why it's such a prevalent issue in today's world. But basically kind of to start with like things that we're doing to raise awareness, we kind of saw that in our community there were recently at South Forsyth High School, there was an issue where a student overdosed on fentanyl without knowing it because of the fake pill situation. So kind of after that, and just some more instances of our own personal friends going through some issues themselves, we decided that this is something that we want to advocate for and stand up for. And these are just kind of like some of the reasons why we thought it would be important to talk about.
So what have we done? First, we created fentanyl awareness curriculum, which were presentations targeted first to the Forsyth virtual schools, because we are very close in partnership with Coach Daniels and Coach Lyerly, who are the presidents at the Academies for Creative Education. And what this allowed us to do is a lot of students in Lambert High School and South, as I know, take health and PE online as a beginner course before they go into high school. So with adding the fentanyl awareness curriculum to these virtual schools, it provides a lot further bandwidth and reach than traditional schooling mechanisms do.
And the way we split up kind of our curriculum per se is that we did it through three main like kind of mechanisms. First, we did it through presentation. So this curriculum is essentially 2 weeks that we built it off of. The first week is kind of like an information dump for like tailored towards like the grades of like 7th to high school. And we essentially just talk about, you know, what fentanyl is, where they can find it and things like that, and like why it's important to them and why they should learn about it. And then the second week kind of details things that they should do like for prevention and awareness and ways that they can stand up for advocacy in their own communities. Sorry, just ignore this part, but the first part that we're doing is like the presentations. We kind of just wanted to show you guys an example of some of our presentations. So in the first week, we did a kind of like, what is fentanyl? So this is just kind of a 5-slide presentation. They do like one 5-slide presentation every day of the week. And so this first one just kind of like goes over what is fentanyl, where do you find it, things like that. And there's also an interactive activity at the end. And this is just like kind of more like what they're on. Like this is the second day, which is just kind of like effects that they can feel inside their own body from fentanyl with a game at the end. The third day goes into the risks of fentanyl overdoses and things that contribute to that as well, more information. And we also try to include a game activity or like a video at the end for students to look over. And this is the fourth day. This is kind of like the last informational session where we just talk about kind of a continuation of these effects and exactly where they can find them, as well as like a story at the end. And after all of those presentations, we do something called, like this is also our second week. I just kind of dumped these names, but this is kind of more like fentanyl in our community resources, media literacy, and like advocacy and awareness. So these are just kind of ways that youth themselves can get involved, and media literacy being like kind of how they should consume social media or online curriculum or just anything else they find online to interpret things about fentanyl.
So the next one is, in addition to these presentations, we also created guided notes. So when the students are going over the presentations, obviously a lot of students are just gonna skip through them and just not look at it. But one of the required things they have to do is fill out these guided notes, which are like some like a little higher level questions on what they learned from this and how they would apply it in their real life. And then there's some, like, as we said, there's interactive activities so they can understand it through a more hands-on approach and not just through presentations and lectures.
Yeah, and there's one for each week, so we just kind of keep them on track with like making sure they're also being accountable for reading the presentation and also understanding it. And then after we do the guided notes, we also have like discussion questions. We noticed with our own experiences online learning, discussion posts and being able to like kind of talk to your other classmates on that online platform is something that furthers our education a lot. So we kind of created some discussion questions we would put in like each of the weeks. So these are 3 for the first week, where we kind of just essentially talk about, you know, just kind of like questions that relate to the presentation, but also take it a step further. And we do the same thing with another 3 questions for the second week.
So
the videos like
the videos are just not loading, but we also created some short form content and some awareness media. So if they don't really want to like watch the presentations, they can like watch our videos, or like we also have it on social media, so they're able to access it in like more places too.
And the way we made our short form content was kind of like hopping off of trends that we know that Gen Z would like, so that it kind of creates more traction in that sense. And so that's why we kind of like, the video isn't loading right now, but it's like a video that kind of like us acting as like news anchors and almost creating a skit. And we kind of wanted to do that just to like make sure that more people would enjoy it and not skip past it. And essentially that kind of like wraps up like the way that we structured our curriculum. We presented it, like Saucer said, to Coach Daniel and Mr. Lyerly, who were at the Forsyth Virtual Academy and ACE Center, and they basically are streamlining it now into the new year, spring semester, into like actual middle school and high school online health curriculum. So they're kind of having like this 2-week module that like around fentanyl awareness. And I think like the class size is almost like 80 to 100 students that are taking this. So it's like a good amount of people that are going to be receiving this type of education. And we hope to also kind of expand that in the future. But this is another project we're doing here.
Okay, so the next one is something that we partnered with Rachel with, which is our opioid billboard campaign project. And we are trying to market this to our school as of now, but I would love to hear, like, we would always love to partner with you guys and push it out to more kids. But basically what it is a billboard campaign so students can create their own design for a drug awareness billboard. And then they would like submit it to us, and it's like almost a competition. So whoever had the best one would then be featured on a Forsyth County billboard for about, I think, 6 months to a year. And yeah, so it would be really cool if we could get as many students as possible working on this, or like be aware of this so they can know.
We kind of just sent out announcements in like our own like class discussion boards and like clubs and things like that. And we have a lot of people that would definitely want to have their name plastered on a billboard. So, you know, there's a lot of interest around that. But yeah, if you guys have any access to like any schools or counselors or resources or just students in general, just word of mouth that you'd like to advertise this to, that would be amazing.
So, sorry, real quick, is that just for y'all's school, or you said you could do it?
Anyone.
No, just like anybody, like teens in general. Like there's not even really an age limit on who can participate. We're just trying to get the most people to kind of there's like an online seminar that we're gonna do kind of before the competition starts with Claire Holbrook, who's like kind of the chair that's overseeing this in the Georgia sector office. And she's just kind of gonna give like a bit like of like an informational session about opioid awareness and things like that. And then from that, students who attend can then like learn about it and then use that information to make a graphic design for the billboard. But yeah, it's just open to anybody who's trying to get.
So it would be like an awareness poster, and would it say art by so-and-so?
Yes, yeah, like there would be, I don't know exactly how it's gonna appear on the billboard, but like when discussing with Claire, she was like, it's going to be attributed, like they will.
And I don't know if there's any funding for this, could they win a $500 scholarship or something as an incentive to
Right,
participate?
yeah, I think she did say there was like,
We have a meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, that would be a good idea. That would definitely get people going. And yeah, when we talk about future plans, there's like one other project that we're working on that wasn't included in this, but we are currently working in unison with this national organization called Students Against Destructive Disorders. And they also have similar missions with kind of just like drug awareness and general things like that. So we kind of like shared our fentanyl curriculum with them and like opened it up more broadly towards drugs in general. And we are essentially just trying to tailor it towards like state specific content. And hopefully through that collaboration, we can have our curriculum out on a national scale in different like health classes and things like that. And then
also, as well as this, we were working to, I don't know if we mentioned this, but we also wanted to create fentanyl awareness blind boxes, which we created a couple. The pictures aren't here, but if you guys are still interested in them, I can show you a couple of pictures. But they are like detailing the fentanyl like symptoms, and what they do is it's a really easy way to get students to interact with them. And it gives a really easy way to like educate them about that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a you know, like in the McDonald's Happy Meals, like you open it up and you never know what you're gonna get inside the thing, but then you like, it's like that excitement and you open it up and you get like this little figurine. So we kind of wanted to emulate that same process through like a blind box where you get like a box and there's a collection of 5 different figurines that you can get, and each figurine symbolizes a symptom of fentanyl overdose. And then once they pull it out, it's like kind of like they don't know what's inside, but when they pull it out, they get like an informational pamphlet about fentanyl awareness and then one of the symptoms. And it's kind of like a tangible thing that they can hold on to, that they can always like see like a remembrance of awareness. So that's kind of the idea that we had, and we're hoping to distribute it more widely. But yeah, any questions?
Y'all are doing great.
Good job. Good job.
The curriculum goes out this year, so everybody that takes health online is gonna be able to be educated on fentanyl, and they're heading the force in the schools for fentanyl awareness, and we love them. So thank you guys so much for all you're doing.
Thank you. For letting us present.
I can say no question, but comments. Like I talked to a teenager recently, that, you know, I was doing the assessment and, you know, they recently had kind of mental health crisis, and I was like, you know, marijuana came up as a thing he'd been doing, and not too much, hopefully, but I was like, well, you know, that things could be laced with fentanyl, and I'm guessing someone's already talked to you about this at school. He's like, no. I was like, you keep thinking, you know, you've been in this council for so long, but surely all the schools are talking about it by now, surely starting in middle school, certainly in high school, because the kid's already into high school. So, but he's like, no. I'm like, you gotta be kidding.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, I didn't know that until like, so like someone told me either.
Because in most of our health curriculums, like it's like, okay, alcohol,
don't do drugs.
and then yeah, it's just like videos.
Champs to just don't do drugs and just like leave it. Like at least when I was in like, we were in 5th and 6th grade, right?
I didn't really understand.
We did the champs program, and they let you put on the little drunk goggles, And that's the only thing I remember from it. So I don't really remember any like awareness.
I think,
like,
yeah, I think the Kid Next to me was like, those drug.
And this was in
laws are so
Forsyth
good.
County.
yeah.
Yes.
I went to Johns Creek Elementary, and then like even in Big Creek I did champs because I moved schools in the middle, and it was the same thing. So
Matt, what are you seeing? Same or?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it depends on the school. There's some schools do more than others. That's kind of, you know, every school is kind of like its own city. And so some administrations, some schools are really open and bringing in and doing different things, having, you know, the council out, having drug counselors at their school, and then other schools not so much. So it's very depends on the actual school. It would be great if there was just a county-wide curriculum. And I do think it's trending in that direction, but it's one of those big wheels turn slow type of situations, you know, so.
10, 15, 20 years type slow.
Unfortunately.
I think that curriculum was in the nineties, the drunk uncles and the don't do drugs, like.
yeah. I don't, they also never gave any specific, like drugs, cause like, obviously, like, no kid is gonna start with like the hard drugs, they're always gonna start with vapes and like nicotine and like weed, but like, all they were like is don't do any drugs, but like, you don't know what is a drug until someone tells you it is, right? So even if someone's telling you it is, you're like, oh, no one told me that, so it's probably okay, so it's also like the matter of like, what do students really know about drugs until they get into like 9th, 10th grade when their friends are already trying it.
Okay, that's a great segue into our next discussion. So you guys can sit here on this. So what we talked about doing, this meeting, since we're a smaller crowd, is kind of opening the floor to programs that we want to, put energy into this year. New programs, right? So I developed a whole presentation. I'm not gonna go through it for the sake of time. I'm gonna skim through some of it. Is that most of you guys know what we already do, right? Like, I don't need to re-go over that. Is there anybody who's like, I really don't know what the council does? No, great. Okay. So, let's see. Just press like a.
Oh, no.
Okay,
Like that.
let's go down. Okay. So, no, this is good, actually. Yeah, okay, so we're scrolling through. So here's everything that we're currently doing. You guys know what this is. The health classes, we're continuing to be a part of. There is a couple more high schools that have reached out this year. And also wanting support groups and also wanting more social events. So it's our trend of getting involved in the schools, like we're talking about, is starting to change. And we are continuing to get more involved. So that.
So South Forsyth High School is not involved, right?
On one list.
High, they are not, middle they are.
For my grandkids go to school, so that bothers me.
Call them, tell them to give me a call.
They have to.
But seriously, that's the point of these meetings, right? Is like, if you guys are seeing like, oh man. And I'm gonna send out this PDF too in the email, so you'll be able to see it. But if there is high schools, you're going, man, they're not getting involved in what we're doing. Call them, call their principals, tell them to give us a call. That's how we, can push a lot of this, because it is difficult. Yeah, so the social activities, we're starting to be able to kind of do those at East. I think we're gonna collaborate with what they already have going on. Yeah, we table at the events in the community. We do our 2 drug summits. Last year we did the Full Circle Drug Summit. This year we did it at UNG. These are all last year, everything that we did. So this is 2024, by the way, not 2025. 2025 is still beginning. We're not even, okay. So, basically this year is what we talked about is the Walk for Recovery. We're gonna gauge it. We're gonna gauge if this is worth continuing to put the energy and funding into, based off of the turnout, or if we wanna shift that into a different type of summit or combine these 2 summits to something. So for y'all's heads, that's on the table for the chopping block, not the chopping block, that sounded bad. Okay, so what I'm saying. We're also collecting data, and we have an evaluator who will crunch our numbers, so we'll be able to know this data, past 30-day use, perception, parent perception, and what is the other one? Yeah, no. Okay. So the issue is we've gotten kickback with parent perception, so we haven't been able to get data on that. As you guys know, we've run into some struggles with promoting parent programs. We'll talk about that in a minute. So We do our council meetings. We go to conferences, and then that's how we educate at our council meetings. We have youth programs. Thank you guys for being here, you lovely, lovely ladies. Parent committee. So as of last year, we have the development of our parent committee, and we have the development of some curriculum. Also with that is speaking into some schools. Marty, I'm gonna let you speak in just a second about this to a higher degree. And some parent education nights. Thing we have found is there's been a lot of resistance, and I think we've talked a lot about that with getting parent nights into the schools. And we've put on a couple events, but there hasn't been a turnout. And our guess is that it's stigma. Our guess is that it's not access or availability or time, just one of those kind of concepts of like, if I'm not having a problem with it, then I'm not gonna turn up for it. I'm already doing so much. We're not sure. And community outreach, we're always meeting with people and talking about different opportunities. Okay, here we go. Like I said, thank you everybody for volunteering for last year and everything that was done. Give yourselves a round of applause. Same with on Zoom. We have done a lot. It is lovely. So again, for the sake of time, I'm just not going over this. Okay. So this year, there's been a lot of different people, organizations that have gone, yeah, we want a program. Yeah, we want to do something with drug prevention. But this is what happens is people get fired up. And then when it comes to actually implementing, and it takes time. And the reality is we're all volunteers. The reality is that we all have day jobs. So when it boils down to being able to actually implement whatever the program is a great idea that we talk about, there's really not a lot of bodies that are kind of willing to do the grunt work. So I can help set up meetings, facilitate, organize, structure it all, but the boots on the ground is a little bit difficult to do. So the thing that I've been trained in is that every council should do about 3 programs and really devote themselves to those 3 programs, right? So we've really devoted ourselves to the schools, and we're doing great with it. We've got the bread and butter of the schools, our council meetings. Honestly, comparative to a lot of other DFC programs in Georgia, there's about 30 of them. Ours is thriving. I talk to them all the time, like, how to get people turning out. So the fact that we have about 30 members typically attending our council meetings, being educated on different sectors, it's a really big deal. So it's great. Our council meetings. And then now we have kind of our 2 committees that started last year, our youth committee and our parent committee. And that's what we're really trying to start getting off the ground. So we have more like 4 things that we're really trying to focus on and that we're working on. I'm running out of breath. So that being said, okay, there's been organizations that have asked for some programs for us to put energy into it this year, but we are kind of working at capacity right now. Hopefully, we just got some opioid funding. We just got a little bit more funding. It would be cool if we could hire somebody else too, because it's me right now and Alicia who's here on Zoom. If there's somebody else that could really devote more groundwork to some of these programs, then we might be able to get some more traction with these programs. So as kind of a beginning start, we should kind of as a group decide what we want to do. So Marty, I'm going to let speak specifically on the parent component, because again, that's the resistance that we've had. So we've talked a lot about really wanting to double down on that this year and kind of have some ideas on how to do that. The other things that have been brought up is DFACS wants us to develop a like a QR code of a flyer of people that are willing to talk to parents that have been using drugs that are trying to get their children back. And they struggle to go to AA meetings, they struggle for transportation, they struggle with momentum. I again have put some effort into this, and it's been really difficult to get people in recovery to commit to putting their number down, for anonymity reasons, I don't know. So if we want to move forward with that, we're gonna need a little bit more. The youth billboard campaign and the opioid campaign, we just talked about that. And the youth capacity, Kirtan is here to continue to grow our youth committee. We're doing filming today and on the 9th, I'm sure that you guys know of. So we will have some professional films that we will then be able to put out into the community, and we can figure out where and how we want to put that out. They'll be premiering at the Walk for Recovery, so we'll be able to see us professional folks. And collaboration with the CHAMPS program. So hopefully we can get involved, so we're not just drunk goggles and don't do drugs, you know, and can have a little bit more segue in that.
Goggles are fun.
Totally.
It's their idea, if they wanna order more. So that's their idea of revamping, so they need help.
Totally. Okay. Right. So we've got some good, you know, like maybe we could do some things. We've got some ideas. But at the same time, we are gonna need volunteers that are willing to do some more of the grunt work of with the food, with the, am I saying that, like boots on the ground? Bees, worker bees, that stuff. We need that. So those are the other things. Marty, can you go into a little bit about what we talked about, possibility with parent committee programs?
Yeah, so, you know, so Ashley and I actually go to Gateway a couple of times a semester to talk to parents whose kids are, have been, you know, are going to Gateway. So that's one of the things that we've been doing regularly. We have attended some, beginning of the school year meetings, but we're not getting on any, any attendance. Our audience are the administration, which is great. But, you know, we really are passionate about getting to parents, especially during step-up programs. So especially trying to get to them early, such as, you know, from elementary school to middle school, because first age of use is averaging about 12 years old. So we really want to try to get to parents as early as possible so that they have that knowledge of what's going on and what to look for. But what is coming up is that, you know, no parent is showing up for, don't tell your kids not to do drugs, right? So maybe we revamp it to more of how do you communicate, you know, what communication skills, you know, talking about things around emotional intelligence and attachment theory and things like that of more, hey, your kid is going to be separating from your family unit and going out and into the community and building friendships with people that you may not know and making connections with people, you know, and they're gonna be making decisions outside of your guidance. So how do you keep those lines of communication open? Things like that. So maybe we work on that to where it's more of, hey, you know, we're here to help you learn how to open up those lines of communication so that if those things come up, we can, such as, you know, drug use or things such as that, we can give you some tools. We can give you a toolbox to work with to keep those lines of communication. And so I had provided Rachel an outline of just some topics that could be covered, not just from a at the step up from elementary to middle, but middle to high school, and then, you know, beyond, you know, your kid's getting ready to graduate. What does that look like for you? As a mom who struggled myself with letting go of allowing my child to make his I think, you know, a lot of parents struggle with that and at the variety of ages, but especially if we can get to them as they're moving from elementary school to middle school and allowing those to help them develop that toolbox of skills of communicating with their child, hopefully we can get ahead of the game.
Okay, can I read you guys some of the topics that Marty came up with?
Yes.
Okay, because I think they're great. So grades 5 through 6 would be understanding your preteen's brain, building secure attachment, encouraging emotional intelligence, managing big feelings, screen time and social media readiness, introducing healthy boundaries and peer pressure skills, family communication and connection, empowered parenting for preteens. So then catered towards middle school, the middle school brain, helping your child manage stress and anxiety, empowered conversations, navigating peer pressure and friendship, substance use prevention, social media, gaming and screen time, fostering independence while staying connected, parent self-care and emotional balance. High school, the teenage brain, supporting mental health, the truth about substance use, building healthy independence, college, career, and life readiness, healthy relationships and communication, digital responsibility, parenting with, whoa, what's that word?
Equanimity.
Yeah, say
Equanimity,
it.
as in equanimity.
Right. So, the idea, right? So I think those are great. I think that's like, God, if we could get into the schools and be talking about some of that stuff, you know, on some level, that'd be great to the parents. But we have worked a lot with Lindsay Simpson, the prevention coordinator for Forsyth County, and all the different kind of higher ups, and for whatever reason, kind of Matt said, they're all different cities, like there's not a blanket way to get into everything, you know, we're gonna have to like go to each individual school or something and like really promote helping with this. So the umbrella opportunity we have as of this year is recordings. So what that means is Lindsay has agreed to monthly send outs with the newsletter where our parent committee, based off of these topics, or anybody, I guess, you know, we could have different representatives do a recording explaining the importance of parent connection, parent communication, or any of those topics. And then it would get sent to everybody in Forsyth County in the newsletter. That's one avenue. The second avenue is the pre-planning this year, where we're really gonna push for orientations. So they're already coming to those events, and we've tried to get in them before, and so this year we're kind of doing one last hurrah to be like, hey, for real, give us 5 minutes, you know, like in an orientation that we can kind of get in front of people to go, it's fine if it's not your kid, but your kid's gonna be around lots of different things. So let's do prevention. Let's just talk about it. So those are ideas as of right now, where we're going with our parent committee. Any other thing you would want to add?
Have we done any work with the Parent Accountability Court with EFACS?
We have not, I connected with someone, at the summit, but, I didn't get a
So I have
connection.
Martina Zaraga, she came to our resource fair, and she really wants to get engaged with our Child and Family Welfare Collaborative, and so I'm sure she would definitely want to link up. I think that's definitely a good targeted audience that you would have with parents needing some of these supports.
Okay.
What's her name?
Martina Zaraga, Zarraga, and she's the Parental Accountability Court Coordinator.
Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, sorry.
I just have a question. Have you guys tried going into like the rising freshman, sophomore, junior nights?
That's what I'm saying. We've had trouble getting into.
Also, I don't think it's that, wait, I feel like when I talked to my counselor, they were like, yeah, we're always looking for more people to talk about things in those nights. Cause they're very like specified to the grade, like talking about, but like at least for the rising juniors, like what extracurricular should you be doing? Or like, what are you gonna be like seeing? But they're like, we haven't really talked more about the like personal side of it. Also, if we're looking at schools, at least I know Lambert has this, we have something called advisement every single Friday of the month, like first Friday of every month, where we're forced to sit down in class and watch a video on the screen.
We have something like
Yeah.
that too, like every Thursday, like in homeroom. Yeah, even middle schools have the same.
Yeah, middle schools have the
Is it
same
like
thing.
social emotional stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Last month we had digital awareness, and then the month before that it was
like something drug related.
it was like one
a survey.
it was like a survey about like drug awareness, like the survey that you sent me that we should do. But that's what I was just wondering, if you guys have tried to like put awareness stuff into like those like sides.
And even
I
if
know.
like, I think like, even if you can't get into like the actual orientations, like on each of like the school websites under like counseling page, there's like the most visited part of that website is like this page that's just like scheduling, or it's like kind of information for
Yeah, it's
rising ninth graders. And under that tab, like I'm pretty sure like we could talk
I
to
looked at it, like,
people in
14
council,
times.
yeah, to just like put like a presentation deck for parents or something like that on like this kind of like title it with that and then kind of have the
Mhm.
presentation deck. So even if we can't reach people through like in-person orientations, at least they'll have that online resource that's commonly visited by a lot of parents and students.
So wait, pause. That's a lot. Okay. You suckers spoke up. What school do you go to again?
We both go to Lambert.
Okay,
I go to West.
and you go to West. All right. So now I'm gonna ask you guys specifically to go and find out if we can, if you could invite us.
Well, we
Okay.
did talks in health class in Lambert.
Oh, and I think they're wanting support, like,
Yeah, you guys did the community groups, right?
yeah.
We did the talks at the health group in Lambert, and then we did talks at West like a year ago. Was that a year or two ago?
Mhm.
But it's been like a minute,
Yeah, West was not involved last year.
not last year, it was the year before last.
Yeah.
year.
So with West and with Lambert, especially for the orientation night, since you guys are kind of part of the council, if you guys could go to your whoever that you know of, yes, that can help with your clubs and everything, to invite our parents for the orientation night and find out if we are able to get into that curriculum to put out online and then come back to me and I'll relay to our
Do you
council.
also want us to ask if we would be able to put your like resources on the Rising like ninth grade like website, like on Lambert's website?
Absolutely.
Okay, cause like I know for a fact I visited like a million times because the way you have to like access anything now is like you go to your like Rising like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, and then you like go under those tabs, and then it's like, oh, this is what you need to do if you're a Rising ninth grade. You need to watch the whole video. You need to, they give you a checklist, and if you want to apply for any classes, you need to have you need to have checked off every single thing off the checklist, and then you need to give it in. So if that video is online, then I'm pretty sure a lot of people will go watch it.
So they make requirements, is it like administrative stuff, like here's your dress code, here's your scheduling?
It's like you need to watch
rules,
this.
here's-
You need to watch this dual enrollment seminar. Then you need to watch this Rising ninth grade seminar, and then you need to like get your parents to sign off that you actually watched it, and then you need to give in the checklist.
So get it on the checklist.
And there's not currently anything on that list around.
No, I mean,
Substance
most of it is like more like
Administrative.
administrative, just like kind of scheduling things like that. But if the title is under like rising ninth graders or rising like going to this class, like how to prepare yourself, so I definitely think there should be something more on like the personal social aspect of school.
Let's just make sure to talk before you have those conversations,
Okay.
because
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it'll be good coming from the students. But
Right.
at the same time, like, us professionals have been asking, and there's this stigma we haven't even been able to get through on some level, like, so it's a sensitive topic. They're like,
Yeah.
no, we don't wanna like promote that we have a problem or there is a problem, so it's sensitive. So let's just come up with some verbiage to
Right,
be
right.
helpful when we
Okay.
have these conversations.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna say this, Marty, I hope you don't get mad at me. The other issue we've had with our parent committee is capacity building. So like I said, it's volunteer based, right? And so everything's fallen on Marty, you know, and there has been a level of help. But that being said, if we are gonna start to really get traction and momentum, she can't be at every school and every presentation and everything and do all of the filming and everything we're talking about. Do you guys have any connections or ideas of how we could get more? And I will say this, parents will be really hyped up to get involved with our parent committee when their kid's doing well in recovery or has, you know, first getting sober, and then they fall off, and that's fun, you know, that, you know, it's a temporary spark. But is there anybody or any avenue that you guys know of volunteers that can help out Marty with some of this stuff once we get some momentum?
What's Erin doing for the connection? Isn't she like a certified parent peer specialist with defense?
Erin Thomas? I think the connections is overwhelming right now. I think, is that safe to say? You guys know, is anybody in collaboration with Connections? I know they got their new building, they're setting up, they're gonna invite us when they're ready. But yeah, I don't.
There's a new building now.
It's like
Brown's Bridge.
across from the biscuit place.
Oh, I know
that is
exactly where
not
that is.
right. Is that right? It's right before Shady Grove.
When
I passed it, I was like, oh, that's pretty
Okay.
good.
It's a
Okay.
great location too.
Yeah, it's kind of a small building. It's definitely smaller than what they had, but
Works.
nice open space inside, huh?
Yeah.
So parents, parent crickets, any parents that would want to get involved that we could promote, helping us out a little bit.
Yeah, and you could even come, maybe speak at my Monday night ladies group, you know, we have like 10 or 12 of us that meet.
Okay.
That's a possibility, you know.
Okay. Any other thoughts or ideas on capacity building with our parent committee?
You could have Marty come pitch it at the Insight parent meeting. I mean, not all those parents are from Forsyth County, but there's definitely a handful. Like, if she wanted to come, say something about that, you know, when we're doing
You can
announcements.
get me to the meetings other ways, Matt, but yeah.
Oh, you want- yeah.
I'll try to come.
Yeah, you can just come one night and promote it at the announcement time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. That's a good start.
Have you talked to Sarah at the school system? See if we could get in that way. On it. The gym with the grant, she's a deal grant.
Who?
Sarah, is it Sarah Bonnie?
Sarah, but she's a head of like student
Yeah.
support.
Mhm.
Yeah, for office like that online.
I don't think so.
I think we need to talk to her too.
What's her name?
Bond.
Sarah Bonnish.
Okay, I'll ask you guys later about that contact information. We mostly worked with Lindsay, obviously on the council, and Kirsten Keith.
Okay, she's come to a couple of our meetings, recently.
What's her title?
She's the head of student support and Kristen Keith is like assistant.
She's,
Well,
okay,
first, yeah.
okay.
She's definitely in charge of making sure they have all those drug counselors.
Okay, great. So we will collaborate with her. Okay, so we are at the top of the hour. So this is time for final thoughts with the direction that we're going in. So these are, I'm gonna be honest, the DFACS program, unless one of you guys right now is like, hey, I want to take that on and help you.
I think DFAC already has like their parent, peer, like they just need to be reaching within their own. I'll bring it up the next one meeting. They already have like parent peer specialists within DFAC, so that's like, that's who they could be tapping into.
Okay,
Right?
okay. If there's anybody that wants to be involved in the parent committee, or if you know anybody that wants to be involved in the parent committee, or if anybody wants to be involved in the youth committee, I mean, they're great, but can always use supervisors and helpers and any ways and avenues to get in and to promote what it is that they're doing. That seems the direction that we're going in, is some more focus on parent and youth committee and growing those two committees. Unless any of you guys right now object and say, I think we should go in a different direction. Adam?
No, this may seem like a silly thought, but for any of these events, I always think as a parent, what would keep me from going to something? I have young kids. Maybe some of these parents that have older kids also have young kids. I'm thinking scheduling, how am I gonna work this in a busy week around work, meal times? So I always go to food with all these events. I feel like if it's there, it's a brief mention at the bottom, like maybe there's pizza at the walk. I'm like, what about food trucks? Either cheap or free food, first slice is free, like, it sounds so simple, but I'm like, if you include some basic need there, like, oh, well, at least I can feed my kids some dinner while I then pay attention to this talk.
Didn't we do that?
We did,
Yeah.
we did do that. And then, I mean, it was cool and it's definitely a good idea. It helps, but it's hard. I mean, I remember.
I know it's not the only
I
answer.
remember one night 2 years ago, myself and Amy Dykes and the drug counselor at North put together a drug education night for parents. And North Forsyth High School was awesome. They had it catered with like, I don't remember, it was like an Italian restaurant. Zero parents showed up.
Oh my gosh. Well, you would want an RSVP feature at some point.
You know,
too.
and Amy, you know, promoted it via email and, you know, all types of things, but you know, but I've also like, I remember a few years ago, it was more than a few years, but like 10 years ago or something like that, there's like a couple kids at South that like overdosed at school. And then we did a drug education night at South and the auditorium was full. So it's like, it's almost this like when the parents are scared and it's in their face and it happened to a kid they know or their kid, then they're all there. But when it's not happening, it's like, I got soccer practice, I got everything to do. You know?
Right, or something, and if you can work it in, I mean, again, pairing it with something like orientation night, even promoting it, hey, orientation night, in 2 weeks, we're gonna have this informational thing with some dinner, maybe even a free social group for your kids to play games and eat while you listen, something like that, just because people are so busy now.
I know, that being said, at the walk, we will have some pizza, some ice cream, bounce houses, we will have face paint, bubbles, it's a family
Well,
event.
if you have a bounce house, Adam's gonna be there.
Yeah, what's the weight limit on the bounce house?
They don't allow Android users in there, sorry.
Oh, check your text message.
Let's promote that stuff, right, incentive.
So I'm part of the mental health council and suicide prevention, and they're having the same discussions around, like, we need to reach the parents, it's so hard to reach the parents. And we used to, working with Lindsay in the school system and school safety, do, the ghost walk, it's where we would, have like the helicopter come in and they would, look like you had a car accident and you would have like a ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ghost walk?
Ghost out or ghost out?
Yeah, ghost out or something like that, or
Was
like.
it at the
team that-
fairgrounds? There's one.
We did, yeah, we did it at the fairgrounds one year. The year of COVID, we actually had it logistically where we were busing in like all the students, like to do it, but then obviously we didn't have it because of COVID. But we've talked about having an event similar to that. There's Kevin Hines, he's one of the survivors from jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. And he has just an incredible talk, and he does where he talks to parents and he talks to youth. And so we're talking about having maybe another event where we could also have a drug awareness prevention part 2 that is a bigger event at the fairgrounds. I have no idea, but we're kind of having that conversation with the mental health council, so it might be really good that we're meeting
Showing up,
together
yeah.
in May.
What's
to
that
see.
called? The ghost walk?
It was called the
Ghost
Ghost
Out.
Walk. Yeah, or Ghost Out, yeah. And because like the students would have to go and they'd have this card and they go to this first station, like, you're at prom, do you drink? Okay, you drink, and then like, oh, you got into a car accident, or oh, you got pregnant, and then you have to like, oh, like, oh, you have an STD, and like, so you get like.
I remember that at the fairgrounds, and it was, yeah, the choose your own path.
Yeah, yeah.
And they got to
Is that like
experience
4 or 5
even.
years ago?
Yeah, it was before COVID, the last one we did was 2019, and so, but we had like all the kids that needed to go, they had to go, because they had that court involvement, and it is also hard to get the kids that need to be there, not there, so that's why in 2020, we had it where we had figured it out, where we could get the buses before and after, and like they were gonna bus the juniors in, so everybody could be a part of it, but.
We could definitely, well, if any of you guys got the mental health thing, I for some reason don't remember to ask about ghost time.
Well, I brought it up the last time I went, so it's.
To the schools that are open to it, I think North will be like this and maybe Lambert because of, I can't remember her name right now, but her relationship, she's real, works with the Creative Academies with Mr. Hayes, the principal of Lambert, because her husband works at Gateway. But anyway, I digress. Getting into parent nights where they're gonna be there, like parent teacher nights, like those are the times I've been, they work us in for 10 minutes. Like we get a short little clip of time, but they're already there. They're there because it's parent teacher night or whatever. They all filter into the gym. We did that at South one year, and that was because it was like the parents were coming, like it or not. And then we educated them that way. So with the schools that we do have relationships with, that's what we should try to do, is just to give us, 7 minutes on the night that all the parents are there anyway.
I think Maureen said Dawsonville does it, you can't get your kid's schedule.
Yeah.
Until like you've gone, whatever it was, she said, I think it was like a 5-minute or.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if last year it was a timing issue when we asked, because I guess you have to schedule really in advance.
Now would be the time for
So
next year.
that's what me
Now
and
would be the
Lindsay
time
had
for the
talked
beginning
about.
of first semester. next
Yeah,
year.
is that now we've kind of figured out the timing we need to really get in, and it's basically next
Right.
month, so.
Yeah,
We're
to
gonna
get in for
start.
next year.
Right.
Who are those point people that get us in?
I would call Drew, Mr. Hayes,
For all the schools though, or?
No, I would go like, hey, who are, like, I don't think we're gonna get in all the schools, because again, every principal has their own like agenda, right? But he would tell you, like, call these 4 principals, name drop me, you know, and I'll call them if they have any questions about it. Like, he'd probably give you permission to name drop them, and then you could call the ones that he's friends with or have relationships with. And I think, like, I know North and Lambert would probably be, we could probably get that. And he'd probably have a few others we could pick off, maybe.
And who are the ones that showed up at the drug summit? Those-
What's that?
And the people that showed up at the drug summit that were on that panel.
Yeah, because Drew was the one that liaisoned with them.
And he's always kind of your pivot, the point person. So that would be, I
Cause right
think,
now Lindsay, Kirsten, Keith, I'll call Sarah, they're kind of been our point person, but we've talked about maybe what we do is to talk individual.
that's the best way to reach the parents. If we get on a night, they have to be there. And then what I found is when you go to that, all the parents like, oh, they're like, so like, man, I didn't know, you know, but it's like, you have to get them there. And it has to be probably not topic that's just exclusive to drugs and alcohol.
And then we
Exactly.
did that once successfully before. There was, sheriff's office had a table with paraphernalia to show off that there was a crowd around right after. And so you could have a couple of informational tables, like one for the council, maybe the
Yeah.
sheriff's office. So then the parents will just naturally filter around there after the talk.
Yeah, was that at South? Cause we were at South one time.
It was very successful. I think they gave like 15 to 20 minutes and we worked in like 3 or 4 speakers. And all right, you got 5 minutes.
And administrations at high schools typically turn over every 5 to 10 years. So when you know what I mean?
Right,
Like, if it's someone else that knew us and now the people there 7 years later don't know us, you have to kind of go back in and rebuild.
It is a different principal at South, so I'll reach out to them.
That's what's happening, is that it always is a turnover. So when I took over, I didn't know anybody. So I'm like starting to build some clout with these people, you know, kind of. So
Yeah.
I need your help. So we all got our missions. We all know what we're doing. We are over time now. Nobody can have any thoughts anymore. So raise your hand if you want to. Meeting adjourned.
Have thoughts, just don't bring it up.
We don't do complaints. We would do other options.
Okay.
They have to be open-minded.
Now, we talked about
They're 18 or
Oh, well,
Oh, we did.
I appreciate it.
So that's-
Yeah.
like we discussed.